Hey everyone, this is Cody, and today on AstroBlender I'm going to be taking a look at the IDAS NBZ. Now this is a dual narrowband hydrogen alpha oxygen 3 filter, so it works really well for one-shot color cameras, especially at high speed. Now it also works good too as a luminance layer for monochrome data, so if you want to add some really nice O3 or H-alpha data to your images, it works well for that too. Now this review is going to be a little different today. It's going to be mainly a comparison of the IDAS NBX, which is the previous version of this filter, and the NBZ. So let's go ahead and get started. Now I've already reviewed the previous version of this filter, the IDAS NBX, and that filter is amazing in fast telescopes if you want narrowband data with a one-shot color camera. So I'm not going to cover the same information here because this filter has all those same qualities. So if you want to see my full IDAS NBX review, click here or just go to the description below and I'll post that. And that has all my data and images for you to see, and I really cover the filter in depth. So basically today I'm going to be comparing this new version of the filter, the IDAS NBZ. We're going to look at those stars and just see how the internal reflections are changed. So I just want to reiterate on the key points of this filter though. The filter is a 10 nanometer hydrogen alpha, 10 nanometer oxygen 3 at the full width, half maximum of those bands. So basically what you're going to see in the RASA 8 light cone, 90% transmission of the hydrogen alpha line and about 90 to 95% transmission of the oxygen 3 line. And that is just phenomenal at f2. So basically this is the filter I go with for my high-speed imaging in a one-shot color camera if I want to do narrowband imaging. So again, just encourage you to see that NBX review that I made if you want all the details on this filter. Now I use the IDAS RASA 8 filter drawer, and I really like the design of this filter drawer with the filter sliders because as you're inserting this, these plastic springs on the edge really make sure that things are locked in place and you get no light leak in your optical system, and that's really the key for me. Now the thing I don't love so much is that these filter sliders are proprietary. They are not 2-inch threaded. You can't just take your 2-inch filter and thread them in here. So if you want to use a monochrome camera or anything like that, it makes things really tricky. So one thing I would love to see is rather than plastic filter sliders, maybe aluminum with some 2-inch threads. That way you can put in your RGB filters or your SHO filters if you're going the monochrome route. But besides that, this filter drawer is fantastic. I really liked the design of it. It's just not having the ability to use standard 2-inch filters does make it a very niche product. Okay, so a wonderful example for comparing the IDAS NBX and the NBZ is the Horsehead Nebula because of that bright star Alnatar, Alnatak. Now, most images will never have stars this bright, so that's why this is a really good example. It's actually probably an exaggerated example, but it helps you see the differences. So this is an image of the Horsehead Nebula with the IDAS NBX. This is a 180-second exposure. And you can see around that star, you get massive internal reflection here. Part of this might be the RASA, but you do see it in the filter as well. Now, if I go ahead and compare this to basically the same settings with the IDAS NBZ, you can see that that star and those reflections are significantly tamed down. Obviously, when you're testing a filter, my opinion is the raw images really speak for themselves. Like anyone can do anything in processing, right? So the settings were all the same for this image, same gain, same bin, same camera, same spacers even, same back focus. So basically, these two images, I tried to eliminate as many variables as possible. Now, obviously, I can't control the scene conditions or anything like that, but for the most part, you can see that the IDAS NBZ is a significant improvement on the internal reflections compared to the NBX, and that's why they improved the filter and they just sell this version now. What makes the NBZ unique? Well, it uses a flat top design for the bands. So if you look at the transmission graph, rather than coming to a peak, the bands plateau. And that's excellent for keeping the transmission high across a variety of focal ratios. The other thing, and this is really the reason I use it, is the bands are basically pre-shifted. It uses an off-center bandpass so that you still see excellent transmission even in high-speed optics that have those very steep light cones. Now, the bands are still wide enough though that you still see great transmission at slower focal ratios. So it really is wonderful in that regard. And then the final thing, this is the upgraded version of the NBX. They really chop off and have a steep drop off on those bands so that they minimize the internal reflection. So Really, the IDAS NBZ is everything I want in a dual narrowband hydrogen alpha oxygen 3 filter, and it's why it's my go-to. It really does everything I need it to do for my system. Alright everyone, well that is my review / comparison of the IDAS NBZ. And really this is just my go-to filter when it comes to acquiring dual narrowband data in fast optical systems. You really pull in that hydrogen alpha and oxygen 3 at high transmission rates, and you just see excellent performance and really sharp stars. So again, I would just recommend that you check out my review of the IDAS NBX if you're interested in seeing more data, learning more about the filter and what it does. And really the only difference between the NBX and this NBZ is this filter is improved so that you don't see as many internal reflections. Everything else though is basically the same, so that review is still totally valid. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and as always, clear skies.